Hello, I'm Landis, and welcome to Dragon Age Origins. It's not really us playing. I've been playing a lot of this in my off time because I never completed it. I enjoyed it. I had 1 and I had 2, all of the DLC, and I never really got that far into it. But recently I managed to pick up the 3rd one, and it's BioWare, and they do that thing where what you do in the first one affects the second one, and then affects the 3rd one, and then really doesn't because it's just the same ending coloured multiple times. But I figured we'd have a go at that. So we've got a little introduction now, where we're just going to play Origins, and we're going to play through some stuff and see the game like we normally do, but I want to involve you guys more this time. So we're going to get the little introduction, and then we're going to have some choices. This golden city, blackened with each step you take in my hall, marvel at my perfection, for it is fleeting. Marvel at perfection, even. You have brought sin to heaven and doom upon us all.
The chantry teaches us that it is the hubris of men which brought the darkspawn into our world. The mages had sought to usurp heaven, but instead they destroyed it. They were cast out, twisted and cursed by their own corruption. They returned as monsters, the first of the darkspawn. They became a blight upon the lands, unstoppable and relentless. The dwarven kingdoms were the first to fall, and from the deep roads, the darkspawn drove at us again and again, until finally we neared annihilation. The Grey Wardens came. Men and women from every race, warriors and mages, barbarians and kings. The Grey Wardens sacrificed everything to stem the tide of darkness, and prevailed. It has been 4 centuries since that victory, and we have kept our vigil. We have watched and waited for the darkspawn to return. But those who once called us heroes have forgotten. We are few now, and our warnings have been ignored for too long. For I have seen with my own eyes what lies on the horizon. Maker, help us all.
Okay, so Darkspawn bad, Grey Wardens good. Us have a choice because it's a BioWare game, and for Mass Effect we get to choose a lot of things. Now, this is pretty much all it is. This is a prologue where you get a little bit of the story at the start, and we need to make a character. So I'm going to leave it open in the comment section. So after watching this and getting the information, you can go down and leave what you want. So we have the choice of a male or a female. Pretty basic. That affects nothing, except maybe how some people respond to us and how we look. From here, both male and female have all the same options. We have to choose a race. There are humans, which apparently there's loads of us because what we do. They're divided, and we get to be all three of the classes as a human. And by being a human, we get 1 strength, 1 dexterity, 1 magic, and 1 cunning, which may not mean much, if anything, to many people. Basically, strength affects this class's damage and one of the 2 specializations of this class. Dexterity and cunning also affect damage of this class, and magic affects damage of this class. Yeah? Maybe. The humans in this game are like any kind of medieval humans. They're all separated, they're all fighting, there's internal politics, they're all stabbing each other in the back. Nobody likes each other because each other's stopping each other from having power. So, human. Moving on. We have the Elves, which are different in this game than other things. In this game, they're predominantly portrayed as a slave species, which can lead to some of the more darker and interesting stories. But you do have like options of where you begin. That's what the background at the bottom is. There are 6 origin stories, possibly more. It's a lot. But yeah, as an elf, we get bonus to willpower, which is our stamina and mana bars, how big they are. And that's basically all of the 5 stats covered. And 2 to magic, so they make really good mages. Even though you'd think they'd be better at thingy. But yeah, as you can see, that there are no restrictions based on gender. It's all the same. But yeah, as an elf, we get that bonus. As a human, we get this bonus. Now dwarves, you know dwarves. They're basically very open with their backstabbing, and they like to piss around with politics a lot. They cannot do magic, which is why you can't be a mage. But they do have a 10% bonus to resist magic. They got an increase to strength, dexterity, and constitution. That's the stat we were missing. That's your health pool. Now I realise magic is still a stat dwarves can have, but it affects how much they get healed by healing items and stuff like that. So there's a benefit to having each stat with each class, and we're not going deep into all of this at the moment. All we really want is a basic understanding, so you can help me choose who we're going to play through 3 games. I might regret this, especially as it's wordy. Let's continue. So we have the classes. We'll start with human because it has access to them all. You have a warrior class. The warriors hit stuff. Plain and simple. They can have single-handed weapons where they smack the shit out of stuff. Shield where they play the tank character to take the damage away from everyone. Big 2-handed buggers where they can just slap shit out of anything that comes near them. Or dual-wield swords as well. There's a lot of options based on how you build it. And they have strength, dexterity, constitution bonuses. So very much based for what they want to do. So if we were to choose a male human warrior, there's options here that you can't see. Like, do we want to be a single hand, dual wield, tank, or 2-hander? I'll add them in. Well, I've added them in now in the video, so you can stick that down and we'll sort that out. And then we get to choose the human noble upbringing. We can't choose anything else, just the noble with the warrior. Now if we move on to the mage, which is the same as it is for the elves. The mage only has this stat, and that will become more apparent as the game progresses, no matter what we pick. But picking a mage, we get bonus to magic, which is our direct spell damage, and our willpower, and cunning, because cunning kind of works like charisma in Fallout. You need some cunning to unlock some skills, but you also need it to be able to persuade and stuff like that. And with the rogue character, you can use it for intimidation. As for class specialization with the mage, there's a lot. There's nature spells, mind control, scariness, raising dead. There's a lot to go into, but most of that can be covered later. The basic mage is a basic mage, and he starts in the mage tower, where something obviously goes wrong. Same with the human noble, starts in his human noble place where obviously something goes wrong. And finally there's a rogue, which again is a noble. Now, with the rogue, we gain bonuses to dexterity, willpower, and cunning. These bonus stats do tend to give you an idea of what you should be aiming for as the class. Now, the rogue, like the warrior, can dual wield. He also single wield, and he can also use arrows. So it can be a bow and arrow dual wielder, stabby dagger wielder. 2 daggers, 2 swords, sword dagger. There's a lot of options there. Again, if you have a preference, add that in, or we'll get to it when we get to it. But that's the humans. So if we did pick a human of any race or class, we're stuck to which option we get to start with. There is no option. Now, back to the start. Be a dwarf. The bonuses don't change. You would always get the same bonus. As a dwarf warrior, we get a choice. We can either start as a commoner, which means, we're casteless. So we're not a commoner, we're trash. We're worse than commoners. Dwarves don't like us because we don't have a job. That's what the dwarf castes are. You're born and you live that role and you do that role. Or we can be a dwarven noble, which I know a little bit about because I started a file as a dwarven noble, and we're not really a dwarven noble. We are the second in line to the throne of the entire dwarven kingdom. And that option happens with both rogue or warrior. We can choose. The armor's not so much important, same as the weapons, because you pick up a lot. We can deal with that later. Now for the elves. Now we can be all 3 again, and the mage just has the mage tower. We can't do any other option. But as you've probably realised, we've only done 1, 2, 3, and 4, so there's likely to be 2. Now we can choose to start as a Dalish elf. The game will explain why they're called Dalish. For some reason, elves can't just be elves. They've always got some esh, or something like that. But these guys are free. They live out in the wilds. They have little camps and they roam around together being happy. Or we can be a city elf. These guys are normally slaves. Beaten, downtrodden, misused, abused. Not treated very well. I don't know much about the Elven campaigns. I haven't played as them. I think I started the Dalish. Probably started them all, but can't remember them. But that's the plan. We are going to play Dragon Age Origins. Then when that story is completed, we're going to do Dragon Age Awakening, I think, which is part of this thing. Then we're going to do Dragon Age 2. Then we're going to do Dragon Age 3. And then we're going to see what we collectively, as a group, have achieved. Taking some of the onus off of me. So I will set up a room in the Discord where any choices that come up during recording that I need an immediate answer to, or a similar answer before the next episode is up, I'll make a little clip and stick that in there so you can nip in there, have a look, let me know what the decision is. If the response rate to this doesn't go so well, then I'll probably just continue playing it through and then we'll see what I would do. But I'd rather everybody sort of joins in and we sort of group choose. It seems like an interesting experiment to me. So the questions for this part: do we want a male or a female? Human, elf, dwarf. Within that selection, warrior, magi, or rogue. Is it magi? It should be mage. Warrior, mage, rogue. And if we do go for the elf, do we want to be a city elf or a Dalish elf? We go for dwarf. Do we want to be a commoner or a noble? We don't really have a choice as a human. We're always going to be a human noble. Or a mage. So the mage again doesn't get a choice. That's the options. Let me know what you want in the comment section, and then hopefully soon we'll start a playthrough with the character you selected, and that'll all be good. And then there'll be choices and you get to decide who lives, who dies. If you enjoyed this episode, then tickle the like button, perhaps subscribe and check out the rest of the channel. And why not join us on the Discord, where I'll be posting the majority of the decisions that need to be made in this game, where you can play along and actually help us shape the world of Ferelden as it's known. I've been Landis. This has been a quick introduction to what we plan to do with Dragon Age Origins. Thank you very much, and see you soon.